Ever pondered the authenticity of the moon landing? Let's journey into the realm of intrigue and speculation where fact and fiction blur. From the fluttering flag on the lunar surface to the curious absence of stars in the photographs, the moon landing has sparked endless debates. Some skeptics question the lethal levels of space radiation while others scrutinize the inconsistencies in lunar landscape photos. So what's the truth? Is it a grand achievement or an elaborate hoax? Let's dive into the evidence that fuels these conspiracy theories. First off, let's examine the flag planted by Neil Armstrong. This flag, an iconic symbol of one of humanity's greatest achievements, has been at the center of controversy for over half a century. The issue? Its movement. As we all know, the moon doesn't have an atmosphere, so without air or wind, how could the flag flutter as it seemingly did in those famous images? Those who question the moon landing's authenticity argue that this fluttering flag suggests the presence of wind, which would be impossible in a vacuum. They propose that the scene was staged, possibly in a studio setting here on Earth. A provocative theory, no doubt. Yet scientists and experts have counter-arguments that explain this anomaly. They remind us that the moon's surface is not a perfect vacuum. There are minuscule amounts of gases, albeit not enough to cause wind as we know it. But the real explanation lies in the flag's design and the physics of motion in a gravity-deficient environment. The flag, made of nylon, was hung on a horizontal rod extending from the top of the flagpole. When Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin planted it, they had to twist and turn the pole, causing the flag to move. On Earth, this motion would be quickly dampened by air resistance and gravity. But on the moon, with its lower gravity and lack of air, the flag's movement persisted longer. It appeared to flutter, even though there was no wind. Additionally, the flag was not perfectly flat. It had wrinkles due to its packaging and the lunar module's cramped quarters. These wrinkles could create the illusion of movement in still photographs. So, the fluttering flag, rather than being a sign of deception, is a testament to the strange and counterintuitive physics in a lunar environment. But of course, theories persist, and the debate continues. The fluttering flag, a simple anomaly, or a sign of something more? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the mysteries and controversies surrounding the moon landing. Next, we have the accusations around the Apollo mission photos. Now, these are not your everyday holiday snaps, but rather some of the most iconic images in human history. However, despite their fame, certain inconsistencies have been pointed out that have led some to question their authenticity. Let's start with the quality of the photos. The astronauts were not professional photographers, and yet every image they took was perfectly framed and in focus. More than that, the images are incredibly clear, almost too clear for the technology available at the time. Some skeptics argue that this level of perfection could only have been achieved in a controlled studio setting. Moving on, we have the strange case of the crosshairs. In many of the photos, there are small crosshairs, which were part of the camera's viewfinder. However, in some photos, these crosshairs appear to be behind objects, rather than in front of them. This suggests that the photos may have been altered or manipulated after they were taken. Then there's the issue of shadows. In some photos, the shadows cast by the astronauts and the lunar module are inconsistent with a single light source, the sun. Critics argue that this could indicate additional artificial light sources, again suggesting a studio setting. And lastly, we have the absence of blast craters. When the lunar module descended onto the moon's surface, it should have displaced a significant amount of lunar dust, creating a blast crater beneath it. However, in the photos, no such crater is visible. Now, it's important to note that there are explanations for these inconsistencies. For instance, the quality of the photos could be attributed to the extensive training the astronauts received, and the shadows could be a result of the moon's uneven terrain. But to those who are skeptical, these explanations are not satisfactory. Could these anomalies be the result of studio manipulation or mere photographic peculiarities? The debate continues, and while we may never know the truth with absolute certainty, it's always fascinating to delve into the mysteries that surround us. Now let's delve into the mysteries surrounding the lunar landscape. Our next piece of the puzzle is the conspicuous absence of stars in photos from the Apollo missions. Now, we all know space is filled with countless stars shimmering across the cosmos. Yet in these Apollo mission photos, it's as if the cosmos decided to take a break. Not a single star twinkles in the so-called night sky. Some might argue this is due to the cameras used by the astronauts. They say the camera settings were not adjusted to capture the faint light of distant stars, but if we can photograph stars from Earth, surely we could do the same from the moon, right? Or could this absence of stars be a result of a studio setting, void of the celestial bodies we should expect? But the mysteries don't stop at the stars. Let's talk about the inconsistent lighting and shadows on the lunar surface. The sun is the only source of light on the moon. Therefore, all shadows should be parallel, right? However, in some photos, shadows cast by the astronauts and equipment seem to diverge. This would suggest multiple light sources, something you'd expect in a studio setting, not on the moon. Moreover, some objects which should be shrouded in shadow are instead brightly illuminated. In an environment with only one light source, this seems highly improbable, unless, of course, there were additional lights present, again suggesting a studio setup. So we have missing stars, inconsistent shadows, and peculiar lighting. All these anomalies raise questions about the authenticity of the moon landing images. But as with any good mystery, it's important to keep an open mind. Could these inconsistencies be the result of the cameras used, or the harsh and unfamiliar environment of the moon? Or are they, as some suggest, indications of a grand deception, evidence of a moon landing that was a carefully orchestrated spectacle? Is it just space photography quirks or a carefully crafted set design? Only you can decide. Lastly, we tackle the radiation barrier. This issue is one of the most scientifically complex and intriguing aspects of the moon landing debate. Space, as we know, is teeming with radiation. This radiation comes primarily from the sun, but also from cosmic rays outside our solar system. The Earth is largely protected from this radiation by its magnetic field, the magnetosphere. But once you leave the safety of the magnetosphere, this radiation becomes a serious concern. The most perilous part of this radiation is found in the Van Allen radiation belts. These belts, named after the scientist who discovered them, are zones of extremely high radiation that encircle the Earth. To reach the moon, the Apollo missions had to pass through these belts, not once but twice, both on the journey to the moon and on the return trip. The key question then is this: could astronauts have survived this journey? The radiation in the Van Allen belts is so severe that it's believed to be lethal to humans. Yet the Apollo astronauts made this journey and returned, apparently unscathed. Some argue that the spacecrafts were heavily shielded to protect the astronauts, but others point out that the kind of heavy shielding needed to block this radiation would have made the spacecrafts too heavy to launch. There is also the question of the astronauts' spacesuits. These suits were designed to protect against the harsh conditions of space, but could they really have provided enough protection against such high levels of radiation? And then there's the issue of the photographic film used during the missions. This film would have been highly sensitive to radiation, yet the photographs taken during the Apollo mission show no signs of radiation damage. All of these questions lead us to a quandary. How did the astronauts survive this journey through the radiation barrier? Was there some unknown technology at play, or is there another explanation that we're missing? Is the radiation barrier an insurmountable hurdle, or was it cleverly navigated by NASA? We've traversed through a galaxy of theories and evidence today. We've explored the enigma of the fluttering flag on the moon, a phenomenon that should be impossible in a vacuum. Could it be a mere studio trick or a result of kinetic energy? We've delved into the inconsistencies in Apollo mission photographs, suggesting they might have been snapped in a soundstage rather than on the lunar surface. We've gazed upon the starless lunar sky, questioning why the cosmos's glittering jewels were absent in the photos. Was it due to the camera's exposure settings or a simple oversight by the supposed set designers? We've also pondered on the lethal radiation barrier that surrounds our planet, a deadly obstacle for any astronaut. Could the Apollo crew have survived such a journey? Or is it another nail in the coffin for the moon landing's authenticity? For every theory, there's a counter-argument. For every piece of evidence, there's a rebuttal. The moon landing isn't just a historical event. It's become a symbol of mankind's quest for knowledge and truth. It's the curiosity that fuels our exploration, the skepticism that keeps us questioning, the belief that keeps us dreaming. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, the moon landing continues to be a topic of heated debate and fascination. It's a cosmic mystery that we may never fully unravel, a testament to our insatiable thirst for understanding the universe around us.